Welcome everyone, let's talk about the competition in Chongqing. I just want to share some thoughts in no particular order. I'm not going to go problem by problem or anything like that. And the first one is that in the male final, well, it was like an old school final. A lot of not so young climbers, I'm going to say. We had guys like Sean McCall, 30 years old, Alexei Rustov, 29 years old, Jakob Schubert, 27, even Jan Hoyer with 26 years of age, he was one of the youngest. And then Kokoro Fuji is just 25. But if you compare that with the final, for instance, in Meiringen, Kokoro Fuji, who was the youngest climber in the final in Chongqing, is older than the average of the climbers in the final in Meiringen. The average age of the finalists in Meiringen, the male finalists, was 24.7 years, whereas the average age of the finalists in Chongqing was 27.3 years, so much older. And I think this year we're seeing more old school climbers, and I hope they don't find this offensive or anything if I call them old school. But what I mean is they are not this kind of 18 years old, 20 years old finalists that we saw in some other finals. Guys like Yoshiyuki Ogata or Tomoe Narasaki, they are on the younger side. And I think we see more, once again I'm going to say it, old school climbers, because the setting style is, it's old school. It's more normal climbing and less jumping around. And I think some of these climbers welcome that. And I think we are all enjoying this style of climbing. Even though the male final wasn't the best in Chongqing, I think was the worst set of boulders we've seen this season. The first one obviously too easy, the third one too hard. And the other two were okay. But yeah, the third one especially didn't work at all. It's really frustrating to watch climbers following the same move, especially when that same move is the first one. And well, at least the first problem, the one that was too easy, at least was quite spectacular to watch. If you're gonna have a problem that everyone's going to flash, at least make it a really spectacular problem. If everyone flashes an easy slab, that's gonna be much boring to watch than if at least they are, jumping around, swinging, and doing powerful moves. Really good to see Sean McCall making finals and making podium again. 2017 was a pretty terrible season for him. He even injured a finger in Munich. Heartbreaking results for the French team, who almost had two of their biggest stars in the final, but they ended up in 7th place, tied, Manu Cornu and Alban Levier. Also good results for the French team on the female side, but no final for them. Fanny Ibert on the 8th place and Melanie Santos on the 9th place. The female final, like the semi-final, was all about Akio Noguchi and Miho Nonaka. They are one step ahead of everyone else. Without Shona Coxie and without Janja Gambert, there's no stopping these two. They looked much stronger than any of the other climbers. The boulders for the female semi-final looked way too hard up until the moment that these two showed up, and they sent every single one of those problems. 4 tops for Nonaka, 4 tops for Noguchi, and in the 3rd place, Jessica Peels with only 2 tops. So you can see the difference there. And on the final, Akio Noguchi was just on fire. Miho Nonaka perhaps was a little bit tense, feeling some pressure perhaps. But Akio Noguchi, she has so much experience and she's so strong. The way she solved the last problem without jumping, and also the way she flashed the 3rd one, she was on a league of her own. And funny enough, the last time she won a gold medal was in Chongqing, but 3 years ago. And yeah, and the first time she won a gold medal was in 2008. So a decade winning gold medals, that's really, really impressive. Other than that, I would like to point out how well Nathan Phillips from the UK did in the Qualis. He was the only climber, male or female, who flashed every single problem in the qualifying round. And this goes to show once again how tight the male field is. Don't be surprised if you see Nathan Phillips making finals one of these days. He has what it takes, but so do so many other climbers. For instance, Gabriel Moroni made finals in Moscow and he didn't make semis this time. So yeah, things change a lot from one comp to the next. So yeah, a lot of climbers have what it takes to make the final. And many times it's just the mental game and perhaps a little bit of luck what makes the difference. The problems were in general quite long, a lot of moves, really overhanging, that's due to the design of the wall obviously. Regarding the live stream, it worked quite well, just minor issues here and there. The clock was on the screen most of the time, and apparently the Chinese TV was responsible for the camera work. And you know I'm gonna complain about the camera work because that's what I do. And take a look at this moment with Jessie Pills climbing. For some reason, the cameraman decided to zoom in, and he's surprised when she reaches out of frame. Why was he surprised? Is this the first time that this guy is recording any kind of sport? It is obvious that she's not gonna stay there, she's gonna move. And chances are she's gonna move towards the next hold. So try to put the next hold into frame as well. Let me show you another example, and this is the last one, I promise. But this is an example of terrible camera work. Jerne Kruger on the first problem. He's about to jump to this hold on the right, the bonus hold, the zone hold, sorry. And for some reason, instead of showing the move, they just show me part of his head and part of his arm. Why? This is not the first time that this move takes place in this competition. If this was the first climber doing the move, okay, I can understand that for some reason you didn't play it safe, you went for the super zoom and you missed the move. But this was the second climber. Kokoro Fuji had already climbed and done the same move. So whoever's responsible for this knew that this move was coming. And they decided to show, yep, let's pay close attention to what they show. They show a little bit of t-shirt and pants, the bib number, the back of his head and a little bit of his left hand, and yeah, his head. Awesome, that's what I want to see. I want to see the back of his neck in detail. It would have been so easy to simply use, for instance, this shot. Use this camera for the entire problem. Nobody would have complained, at least not me. And then if you want to show some details, a really cool shot of a small crimp or, I don't know, something like that, a climber looking at the next hole intensely, then you can use the replays for that. While the climber is climbing, just show me the entire body and part of the wall, make sure all the important holes are in the shot, and that's pretty much it. That's the recipe for a good camera work. And that's it. That was my rant about the camera work in Chongqing. And that's all for this video. If you want to share your thoughts on this competition, you are more than welcome. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Take care.